friends, I hope you're doing well. I'm really excited about this newest episode of One Question with me, Mr. Sharp. I'm Nora Raleigh Bakin on the show today. She is the author of 9/10, a September 11th story. If you haven't read this book, it's absolutely phenomenal. It takes place in the day leading up to the tragic events of September 11th. She looks at 4 different characters from all over the country and talks about their story and how their story is connected, kind of like how all of our September 11th stories are connected. I just love the book. I love Nora. She's a wonderful human being. If you haven't read this book, please give it a read. It's absolutely phenomenal. And Nora has been able to talk to so many teachers about 9/11, so many librarians about 9/11 since writing this book. And I just thought it would be great if she could answer this one question. And the one question is, if you have any advice for educators who want to start talking about 9/11 in their classrooms with their students, what advice do you have? Take it away, Nora.
And my answer is pretty simple. First, you're going to have to do it. For middle school and now even high school students, they weren't born yet. They know very little about 9/11, about the actual facts. They pick up what they can from pop culture references or maybe, their parents at home. But they don't know anything about it. And what's happening is, and from my experience talking around the country with students, they're getting misinformation. They have wrong information. They have misconceptions. And misconceptions lead to fear, and fear leads to hate and prejudice and bigotry. So it needs to be talked about. It's also going to be part of the curriculum, if not already, very soon. It's our history, and it's going to be taught. So let's be prepared for how to broach those conversations when they come up. What I would say as my advice to educators, and I've heard this fear from teachers, I'm going to start crying. I'm worried I'll get too emotional. I say that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with letting your students know that it's emotional, that it was scary, that it was terrible, that teachers were unprepared for what to do. Everybody was unprepared for what to do. And that letting students see that is perfectly okay. That would be my biggest piece of advice. I think that having those discussions about why it happened, who did it, is it going to happen again? Why isn't it going to happen again? How can we prevent it from happening again? Are the conversations we need to have, even arguments, discussions, debates with your students at whatever level they're ready to have those discussions. However you approach this, eyes open is always better than eyes closed. It's all part of the process of healing as a nation and as a country. And I leave you with something kind of corny, but I feel very strongly about this. Your students are our future, and they need to have as much honest, real conversations about these things as they possibly can with you in a safe environment that's open for debate and intellectual discourse, so that it doesn't happen again. That's my answer. My obvious question is, where were you when 9/11 happened? Do you remember what you were doing when you first heard or saw or experienced 9/11? Just like the previous generation all had the answer to where they were when JFK was shot. This is our generation's question. Where were you when 9/11 happened?
September 11th, 2001, I was a student at Western Michigan University. I had class that morning. The plan was to head from class that day to Elma, Michigan, which is about a 2-hour drive, to see my wife's college soccer game. My girlfriend at the time, my wife now. And I remember leaving my first class, heading to my second class in Sangren Hall, and seeing a bunch of people standing out in the hall, and this cafeteria room just totally full. And there's no one ever in this room. I remember sometimes I would buy Pop-Tarts or a Diet Coke in the morning there. And it was packed, and so I was very curious. So I kind of slid in, and I saw the news, and I saw what was happening, and I was standing there when the second tower was hit. And after that happened, I just left, and I went back to my apartment and caught some of the news. I believe I called Elena then. We were chatting about it, and her soccer game was canceled. Classes at Western were canceled, and we both drove home, about an hour for me and an hour and a half for her, to our parents' house, and we spent the day together there just watching the news. I remember people saying that there was going to be no gas, so we filled up all our cars with gas and just spent time together with people that we loved. And then the next day she headed back to school, and I may have even gone up there with her. I remember going to her soccer game, which was made up the next day. That is my September 11th story. I would love to know your September 11th story. Nora has asked that question, so please leave that in the comments below. I'd love to know that as well. Please like this video, subscribe over here, watch another video in the series over here. Thank you so much for all your support. I appreciate you. Cannot wait to hear about your September 11th story. Have a great day.